Welcome to Unmuted by GosuGamers, a podcast that takes a closer look at the esports world. And in every episode, the crews will be diving into the biggest news, hot topics, and tough issues in the competitive gaming industry. And today, my name is Freddy. Today, I'm here with Christy or Pandora Dota, as well as Andrea or Diff. And today we're gonna talk about TI10. For today, we're gonna talk about TI10, right? I mean, I know it's over for almost close to a week by now. But yeah, there's a lot to talk about. We did a couple of videos here and there to talk about the active storylines during TI, but I think there's a lot more for us to uncover, to really unearth and talk about it. But first thing first, Div and Christy, what's your overall thoughts about this TI10? Is it a great one? Like if you have a ranking, is this like among the top few TIs ever, or meh, or like what's your thoughts?
So excited both of us to start.
I like the silence, like yeah.
Well, because when you talk about TI, I think it's multifaceted, right? You have storylines is one thing, you have gameplay is another thing, you have production value is another thing, you have experience is another thing. So when you say like, how is this TI rated, it's you have to do the quick math. Okay,
why don't we narrow it down to
all of those things?
We narrow it down to the storyline per se, how everything unfolded. Yeah.
Well, the storyline is pretty nice, right? The storyline, everything, and I'm super glad that we had probably some of the best Dota games we've seen in many years. But I almost hate that. It's not hate. Don't take it literally, but the Dota was so good that you might forget that this TI didn't feel like TI at all. Besides the Dota, I have very mixed feelings, and I'm very happy that it happened for Team Spirit and the way it happened. At the same time, again, I feel like this was a very big letdown for the fans, and for me, it didn't have the TI feeling at all, outside of the what you see as a games. But it might be just me. I don't know.
Christy?
No, I can completely agree with that. I feel like it definitely, as a production value and as how it was presented to us, it was no different. If in fact, for fan value, again, Animajor was a bit higher production, a bit more exciting in that sense. This was on par with Singapore Major, I would say, in terms of production, in terms of content, in terms of what we received on our end as fans. And we didn't have a lot of positive things to say about that one. So I guess that's kind of where I'm feeling. It didn't feel very much different from that to me. It didn't feel like a TI. We didn't have Gabe. Sure, he did his video call in or whatever, his recorded session, but it wasn't the same, clearly. The audience factor wasn't the same. The content was not on the same level of what TI normally delivers and does. And part of that is because, again, the audience, because a lot of what TI does in terms of content is audience participation, audience driven. There's a lot of running around through the crowds. There's a lot of things that happen with the audience, Slack sitting with other people in the stands, Casey doing things with people in the arena, you see the outside, you see the crowds, all of these kinds of things. And obviously that was completely lacking. The video content also with Casey and stuff was recorded, and it was recorded via video conference. So already there's a difference in that. There's not that face-to-face, same kind of ambiance and atmosphere, the interaction. Usually it's a very serious thing. They're sitting down next to each other on couches, everybody's together. And so it was a lot more makeshift feeling to it. And again, this is just in terms of what was delivered for fans and content. But even the secret shop felt so lacking and empty compared to previous years. And I know that I went to go order almost immediately from when it was announced, and things were already sold out too. So that was a bit disappointing, again, also as a fan.
Yeah, I think since we're already talking about the disappointments, let's just talk about all the bad and the ugly, right? So I think technical wise, definitely there are a lot of hiccups, especially during the first few days.
The beautiful green screen,
the green screen, the long delay. I think during the first day of group stage. Yeah, let's talk about the crowd cheering. It was really bad, especially the first 2 days. I think in terms of how they mixed it and everything. I have to say, it got gradually better though, throughout. Especially during the main event. It kind of like at some point you forgot that yes, there's no live audience, but somehow it helps with the atmosphere just a little bit. But
my
yet at the same
understanding
time,
was there was a crowd DJ and he was at the arena. So that's where the difference between the playoffs and the groups was because he was at the arena itself and was kind of like pumping in the crowd sounds. And then, of course, because they had the pre-recorded LGD chant, that felt a little bit more authentic than, of course, Team Spirit, there was that whole...
LGD was the only team with that special track, right? I don't remember.
I think so, because I know it was clearly a difference, and there was a whole Reddit thread and stuff about this is biased, Team Spirit didn't have their own chant and those kinds of things.
Yeah. Div, are you a fan of the cheer or not a fan of the cheer? Especially when it's fixed, not the initial stage, but towards like the final few games or like even the playoffs. Yeah.
I'm a fan of doing things in an honest way, and a lot of the things that happen on at this TI, including the cheering, I think like it helped with just reminding you this is everything we could come up with in the lack. I mean, I don't know. I didn't like the fan cheering. It was awful on the first days. Yes, it got better later on. They practiced, they balanced it, but I still had like even the LGD chanting in the grand finals. I was like, why would you do that? We all know it's no audience. We all know that this is not happening. We all know that the teams don't hear this. They don't count, for the teams, for anyone. It's just like fake, build more fake, more scuffed things on top of everything that was not looking already good. And just like, desperate things trying to save or to make it better. And to me, it just got worse and worse, but whatever. Yeah, I hate, I mean, I've heard so many people already talking about Romania being a third world country, reminded me about that, and people just have these and in their conversations now post-TI a lot. And yes, it's, of course, we are not anywhere close to a civilized country, but I hate that this TI didn't, do any justice or didn't do any good for the perception to be changed. And it is what it is. I don't know. I just want to forget about this as soon as possible.
With that, I definitely want to also touch on I would say the safety as well as the players' welfare issue, right? I mean, not trying to shit on like PGL or WoW directly, but it's just that that there were a lot of complaints from especially even in the beginning of the tournament, from like the practice room, the one that Team Spirits posted, and all the way to like they were not like standardized procedure in terms of like SOP, in terms of like COVID tests. There were complaints from Esther, and that got deleted. The comments and stuff like that.
A lot of things got deleted.
This kind of thing.
Which is also something. We can talk about it.
Yeah, that's the reason why our show is called Unmuted for a reason, right? Yeah.
Well, I know that people have behind the scenes said that it's in their contract specifically that they're not allowed to publicly talk against the organizers. So this is why things either end up getting deleted or not going public, because part of their contract that they signed specifically says that they are not allowed. which makes things hard. And then, somebody gets angry, somebody gets upset, because rightly so, with the things that they do. They post it on Twitter, and then it immediately has to come down because a management says, we signed a contract. We're not allowed to do this, and it has to be removed immediately. I mean, I understand on one hand, you have a NDA or some other kinds of, you don't want, your employees to go around bad mouthing you. And I think that's in a lot of industries, honestly. But at the same time, it makes things very difficult, because how do things get fixed then? We don't see a lot of accountability. If these things aren't, we see that they changed the practice rooms after the Team Spirit video went viral, so to speak. Then they changed the practice rooms, because then some of the other teams started speaking out about it or commenting as well. That wouldn't have been done without that. I guarantee that if Team Spirit just went and said, we don't like our practice room, it would have been like, well, that's all we have. They had to kick people out and pay them big money, is what I'm hearing, to move people out of the hotel in order to make the room so that they can give teams the bigger rooms for the practice rooms. So, I don't think they would have gone through that kind of effort had it not been brought publicly. But on the same hand, they're not supposed to be bringing things publicly.
I think this is where I know, Team Spirit is such a young team and an organization for the first time at TI, and there were a lot of things that, they were simply not aware of what should say or not say, or, it was their first experience. And I'm just super happy that they were the ones that, brought this into everyone's attention and said, hey, this is not okay, even for a team like us who are at the first TI. We can't practice in 2 meters, or not practice. I mean, we keep saying practice rooms, but those were the rooms where they had to play the group stage from, right? And they end up winning the TI. This is like perfect story for me, because if somebody like Team Secret or OG or anyone else would have gone, oh, these are not perfect rooms or decent rooms for us, fans might have said, oh, but you are such a picky, and you want so much. And it's good that Team Spirit actually brought that to the media and to everyone's attention.
Yeah, and it wasn't just that they were complaining. I mean, the video clearly showed how cramped, how they couldn't stand up, how they couldn't move. And it's also a very different kind of a feel than when someone just gets on and just starts saying, oh, our room is too small. And you think exactly like, well, what is too small? Playing out of a closet or playing out of, the Taj Mahal, like, what are you calling? Compare it to a chicken. Like, what size is it?